Right, class. So you might notice in the syllabus your research oral presentation is worth quite a bit of points. Is district mandated at this time that this is a face-to-face class? So it's kind of above my pay grade. But I would recommend that you get a jump start on this as soon as possible. And actually, you have some due dates coming up for this. The more prepared you are, the more your anxiety is going to decrease in your public speaking day as soon as you start speaking. So, preparation is really the best thing you can do here. So, for your research oral presentation, those of you who have taken public speaking courses before might remember there are three different types of speeches. The first is a speech of special occasion. So this is something like if you were doing the toast at your sister's wedding or something. Um, a second one is persuasive speaking. So if you're trying to persuade somebody to come over to your opinion, if you're saying something is better, that is a persuasive speech. The third is an informative. So this is purely you're giving a how-to or kind of telling about a process or analyzing a certain theory, for example. So for your researched oral presentation, you will be doing an informative speech. The informative speech grading rubric you can find here. This is exactly what I'm going to be looking at and grading you with when you're speaking. So the length is only 4 to 6 minutes. So this is not a lot of time. You really want to focus in on having a very, very specific thesis. It needs to tell that you know the audience, so do not include any pronouns like you in your thesis, and it needs to tell me you know the context. So your audio-visual aids, two are required. You won't have use of the projector or the PowerPoint, so you're not going to be able to show a video clip or kind of anything to the class with a projector. And this is because you should have the skill to be able to speak with something other than computerized technology. So think of this as maybe show and tell, like you were in elementary school and we brought something that we were super excited about and told the class about it. So your cited research, you need to have a minimum of 3 different sources. 2 need to be scholarly. So sometimes students want to do speeches on something like how to make an apple pie. So that is an informative speech, but it's going to be really, really tricky to try and get scholarly sources. There are ways to do it, but you're going to have to be way more creative. So if you're thinking about a specific informative speech topic, I would recommend going into the city database and looking at informative speech, your informative speech topic, and seeing if you're going to be able to get some scholarly sources there. So you'll see your informative speech topic is due on Thursday, April 18th. So that's this Thursday. So you really want to start thinking about this. If you scroll down, watch this video. It's going to really spark what you, maybe some ideas for you. That's a good place to start. You can watch an informative speech on example. And here's a quick video on how to start your speech. So for those of you who haven't yet, sign up for your informative speech presentation day. Once you do that, you'll see this under your groups. So you'll see research presentation day 1. So I signed up for Monday, for example. So you'll see 2 different groups here. One, you'll see your class group, and of course, that was for your class group assignment that's due on the 28th. And then you'll have your research presentation day that you'll be performing your informative speech assignment on. All right, so I want to play a little bit of a game, just getting back to the topics based on the information that I gave you. So this game is called informative speech approved or not approved. So you're going to pretend right now that you're the instructor and these informative speech topics are coming across your desk. Tell me if you would approve them or not approve them. All right, differences between Mexican and Honduran culture. Would you approve or not approve? So, no, you would not approve this topic. The reason is this is only a 4 to 6 minute speech. So you want to be shooting for 5 minutes. That means 1 minute is for the intro, 1 minute is for the conclusion, and you only have 3 minutes for the actual body of your speech. It's a really quick speech. So if you're talking about Mexican and Honduran culture, these encompass so many things. Are you talking about geography, economy? Are you talking about their food? Blah, blah, blah. There's so many things. So, in order to make that speech fit into a 4 to 6 minute uh, idea, you would maybe term it 3 differences between Mexican and Honduran culture. So then you would be focusing on 3 differences between these two cultures. Even this, I would say, just on a personal note, public speaking is about sharing how we're similar and not how we're different. So, I don't know, maybe not a great speech title, but identifying that you're only talking about 3 differences is what I'm looking for here. What about this one? Type 1 diabetes, ways it affects the human body and how it can be treated. Oh, no, this is not approved. Um, so this is not approved because of the and. It's going to make it way too long. Instead, I would switch it to type 1 diabetes, how it can be treated. That's what I would focus on. The and in there makes it way too big of a topic. Your thesis generally should not have and in it. What about this one? Why you should do male gymnastics. Approved or not approved? Not approved. And it's because it has why in here. This is a persuasive speech. You're trying to persuade people to do male gymnastics. It's not an informative speech. So in order to change it into an informative speech, you would put the evolution of male gymnastics in the 21st century and maybe even tag on to the end of that in the USA. So you'll be looking at the evolution of male gymnastics in the 21st century in the US, and that you'll be purely informing your audience on that. What about this? How to become a Disney park character. Approved. So if you've looked into this at all, how to become a Disney park character, it is a very intense process. The only note I would say on this one is it might be a little bit difficult to come up with scholarly information on this, but I think you could do it if you really wanted to do that topic. What about this? Each position in volleyball has its own duty, responsibility. Okay, like that's just a statement. You've said it in 30 seconds, so that isn't really a good topic. Instead, change it to something like the duties and responsibilities of each person in indoor team volleyball. So there are 6 people on the court. That one can be summarized in about a 3-minute body, but you might even want to make it more specific. What about this? The environmental effects of hydraulic fracking. So approved, but sad face because I've heard this speech so many times. There are just certain speeches that are way overdone. If you really, really wanted to talk about fracking, okay, but I just can't hear this speech one more fracking time. So, you better have a really good explanation behind that. But once you have your thesis that you would like to propose, you'll go into discussions and then go into informative speech proposal and then create your thread. So all you're doing is proposing your thesis here. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with and learning about and being informed about your expertise.